take your Jupyter notebook to the next level, unleash the power of interactive widgets with iPyWidget. In this video, we'll explore the magic of this library and discover how it can transform your notebooks into dynamic, engaging experiences. Stay tuned as we demonstrate practical usage and create stunning visualizations. Let's go to the terminal and install iPyWidgets. So we do pip install iPyWidgets. I've already installed, so let's run the Jupyter notebook. Okay, now that we have iPyWidget installed, we import iPyWidget as widgets. After we import the iPyWidget, we can create different widgets. Say we want to create a slider. We go to what do we want to see here. So let's do the Shift Enter here. And you can see that it has a slider description here, default value as 50, and we could move around these values. To access the values that we have here, just say a slider dot value. You see the new value. And if we want to see the description, if we want to create a text box, we put text, the variable that we want to assign it to, widgets.text, and the value that we want to show it by default, and description, which is the string. And let's run this one. This is the string that we have here as the description and the default value. We could modify this value. We could see the new value assigned. If we want to create a button, we just put button is equal to widget.button and the description and button style. Let's run this one. The next thing is the drop down. We have the widgets.drop down, the options that we want to have, and the value, which is the default value, and the description that we want to assign. Let's run this one by Shift Enter. So the numbers that we have, and we just click on it, you see the other options that we have here assigned. The next one is the checkbox. We have the widgets.checkbox and the value, which is default to be false. In this case, I want to assign, and description and disabled. So let's run this one again. You can see that it's not checked as we have here as the false. If I click on this one, escape A above, then I'll just put, you see that right now is true. If I rerun it again, you see this is the false and it's not selected. And if I run this, you see it's false. If we want to create a radio button, we just put widgets.radio button and the options that we have. And we want to display this, as you can see here, different options. So now that we basically went over different widgets that we have within this library, let's see if we can assign some function to this. We want to, on the click of the button, we want to change the style and color, icon, tooltip, etc. So we define our function, our button as widgets.button, description, and button style, tooltips, icon, and the layout that we want to say for the width and height to be auto. And here I'm displaying this button, and after this button on click, I want to run this function on button clicked. So let's run this one. You see that the button is, as we specified here, has a text, has a style, and has a tooltip. If we keep on it, yes, click me, and height and width are by default. So if we run this one, you see that the style has changed, icon changed, and also the description and the tooltip. Well, I'm going to show you an example which I'm going to get the values that I'm getting from the slider and passing it to the function. So let's have our function defined as, say, example, my function as x, and it's going to return the x value. And here we have the slider, and we define it as we have here minimum and maximum default values and the description. Next, we're going to use the method interact from the iPyWidget. So from iPyWidgets, we're importing the interact, or you could just write down widgets.interact and the function name, and we're passing the slider, the values that we have on the slider basically. So let's run this one by Shift Enter. You see that the default value already passed, and it is 50, and we are returning this x, and it's showing is 50. So if we change this one to 71, you see that it's been printing 71. Okay, the other option is creating interactive visualization by adding a decorator at the top of the function that we have. In this case, I'm defining this function plot function, and the values are coming from this slider that we have defined here. So by default, we're passing value of 50. Let's run this. You see that we have a chart as we defined with the values of 0 and 50, which is the default value for the slider. So if I move around this value, you see that it is getting adjusted to the maximum values. We could also do this using the method interact, passing the function and the values from the slider as we have it defined here. It should be identical as we have. Okay, so now we could also combine the widgets that we had. So in this case, I'm getting the horizontal box, vertical box, and into sliders. So I defined 2 integer sliders, and you can see we have a slider 1 and a slider 2. I'm also creating a label, which I'm going to use it shortly. And now I have this horizontal box, which I'm putting these 2 sliders and combining that one with the label in the vertical box. So let's see. You see that we have this slider, which is the label, and these 2 other sliders that we defined, slider 1 and 2 here and here, and we could modify the values. This is another example which I'm again creating some charts, bar charts, and for the values, the number of the charts that I have, I'm basically getting them from the int slider. And there you have it, a quick rundown on the basics of iPyWidget. I hope this has inspired you to incorporate iPyWidget into your workflow. Join me in the next video as we dive in deeper into adding interactivity to our program for collecting stock prices data and creating interactive visualizations. Until then, happy coding!